Good evening and welcome to my program, The Insight. Tonight we are going to discuss two very important issues. One is in relation to UK and the other one, as usual, in relation to Pakistan. As you all are aware that UK government has announced a new policy, especially the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has announced that in the Parliament yesterday, and she has outlined this new policy as it is not going to be as a hot chocolate for somebody who wants to cross the border or want to come in this country and want to enjoy their life. Now people on the asylum will get permanent settlement after 20 years, not after 5 years, and their visas or their status will be renewed after 2.5 years. And this does not only mean that they will get permanent settlement after 20 years, but if their respective countries, they can go back to their respective countries, or government can send them back to their respective countries if the circumstances changes, or if there are improvement in that country, whatever the grounds were used by that specific person, if those grounds have been improved in the home country, they will be sent back to their countries. Some of people have actually criticized this policy is a very hardline policy, and they have criticized Shabana Mahmood that she's taking drastic step to get aligned with the right wings, but there is a pressure on the government, and obviously she has also announced that by the end of the Parliament they will try and vacate all those hotels which are actually hosting these asylum seekers, and they might be using the military sites in future. Now the second part of the show would be on the situation which is in Pakistan, and especially in relation to an article which has been published in the subsidiary digital platform of The Economist, which is called 1843, and this article is written by a very renowned journalist, Owen Bennett-Jones, and Bushra. Now the title is very interesting. Title is The Mystic, the Cricketer and the Spy, Pakistan's Game of Thrones. And in this article, actually both the authors have tried and gave some evidences against Imran Khan's wife Bushra Bibi, that she used black magic and a lot of influence over Imran Khan when he was Prime Minister, and he was the actually who was trying to run the party, and also it has been alleged that Bushra Bibi was a spy recruited by ISI and planted in Banigala just to make sure and just to put Imran Khan under control. Now these are the allegations which are put in the article, but as per the author Bushra, she has said that they have all the evidences and they're ready for PTI to take them to court, because they are criticizing this article, and they're alleging that The Economist has published this article after a big payout. Anyway, I have a guest joining me in the studio, and I will be discussing about the first part of the show, which is about the changes in asylum policy. Shahram Mashood, he's a legal analyst. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Smina.
First of all, the first question: do you think these changes will be welcomed by those who are in this country on the asylum route, or wants to come to this country on asylum route, or the mainly who are not white Asian British people?
I think so. They will not digest these changes because them who are in the country already and they have claimed their asylums, for them that is very devastating news, because the previously people received their indefinite leave to remain within the 5 years, right? After completing the 5 years, now they have changed it to 20 years, as you said. And again, this is not the route to settlement anymore, so they need to renew their leave in the UK after 2.5 years, after 30 months basically. So for that they need to pay the fees as well. They need to show them the certain level of language requirements also, which they will introduce in the future, and also they need to pay the fee. Previously it was a very free of cost route for the asylum seekers. So yes, it is very bad news for them who were planning to claim asylum. It's not for them who came to this country through boats from France, or even it is for them as well who came legally in this country on different routes, and then they claim asylum
Yeah, especially I think when they come on a visit visa and then they just try and claim asylum, but that does not mean that everybody is trying to fool the system. There might be few of them or most of them who are actually have some factual background and they have some threats back home in the country. So it is going to affect them badly. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it will be, but the government also announced that they will introduce a 8 years route to settlement as well for them who will show their contribution to the society, to British society through work.
It's called study and
Yeah.
what route? Study and?
It would be through a study route and the work route. This route will be separate from the current study and work routes.
Right, okay.
The
That's
only
8 years.
especially for the asylum seekers who made the claim. So they need to show themselves in the country to like their presence as a contributor towards tax, towards community services, and to pay fees as well. In the past people were claiming benefits from the system as well. There was a big burden on the system, and now they will review the support for them as well, the benefit support, asylum support. It will be depend upon their circumstances and also the review report from the Home Office. So now not everybody will receive such support as well. So the system or the government wants to lay off the burden of the funds as well from them, as and as you said, they used to have live in the hotels, a very good life, to be honest. At the moment the British is not enjoying such privileges they used to enjoy, so now they have decided to move them from hotels to the
I think we should not
military
forget the
units.
fact that most of the asylum seekers which have been housed recently were the Afghan refugees, which this government brought them into this country once when America decided to leave the country, and they actually brought so many refugees from Afghan and gave them asylum and then put them in the hotel, and it was in the interest of the British government at that time. I think they were the ones who were housed in hotels as well.
Even them, but previously the people who came in the country and claim asylum, so they were also residing in the hotels. So now their plan is to reduce the expenses. Now they will move them to barracks or military sites basically. But again, that was the time when nobody accepting them. Then the West, especially the UK government, they accepted them. They came to the UK through special flights from Afghanistan to accommodate them, but as they seen that they didn't put their efforts to the community. That's why this new system is for them who really want to contribute to the society. They will earn settlement for themselves, and then they can be a British citizen in the future as well, if they will follow.
So there's a long way, and obviously there's another change that, for example, in the meanwhile, during those 20 years, if they had any they had a danger to their life in their home countries and the situation is improved, they can also send them back to their home country. But how are they going to find out that for this specific person there were different circumstances? Now that has changed. Will that not be difficult for the Home Office to assess these grounds?
That's a good question. Basically, recently what happened, if we take the example of Syria, so lots of Syrian came during that period to the Europe and to UK as well, and they welcomed them. So what happened now, as the regime has been changed, because everybody was suppressed by the Assad regime, Assad Bashir regime. So now they have their own government, the people's favorite government there. The leader wants to deliver to the people. So most of the Syrian, they accepted it and they went back to Syria voluntarily. And this is what the UK government, they thought they can also offer such, they can offer such returns to other communities as well. There, the system is now like under control. The government, giving protection to their own citizen now, and their regimes has been changed. So that's why they want them to go back. And even they said they will send them back. Why they changed it to 20 years route? Because in the 20 years period, anytime if they will see that this country has more protection for the people who claim against them in the UK, so they will send them back.
Right, but some critics have actually just said this, that it is a two-faced approach by the governments. For example, in previous years, they have actually asked Ukrainians to come to this country and stay here, and actually they were given a lot of privileges. I know for sure they have been different organizations were ordered or advised to give them preferences as well. They were given homes, they were given all the facilities. So if it suits you, it's good for you. If it doesn't suit you, then obviously it's bad for the country.
We are very multicultural society here in the UK. So yes, one side of the society, if you religiously think, they think that no, they are giving support to their religious to their men, for example, to their color as well. You can say that them were looking same to them, to British and to Ukrainian. But the thing is, at that period there was a big chaos. There was a war between Russia and Ukraine. So
there is still a war.
Yeah, no, but there's a big control there. At that time, people were fleeing and they were standing on the borders of Poland, and they allowed them to come over to the Europe. But that was same happened with Afghanistan as well. So when there was a war between the regime and them, we call them Taliban, so they asked them to move to the UK. So I don't think so that the UK government only give the chance to the one community or one country. They try to give chance to everybody, even them from Africa. Lots of countries are in trouble. There is no regime. Just even I think so. There are some people like the Boko Haram type. These are the organizations who are dealing with their political and their countries other stuff. So they people moved from there to the UK. So even the UK gave them the support. But when they came to the UK, they misused the system. While they misuse the system, I'm not saying that the 100% everyone misused it, but most of them they misused it.
So when you say misuse the system, what does specifically mean?
Like they claim asylum, they found the loopholes. For example, I would say a person came from Africa on a student visa, for example, or South Asia, and when he came to the country, after a couple of months, he realized that he has a very severe threat back home. So, which is quite wrong, because when he submitted his application to apply to come to the UK as a student,
he didn't
declare anything in that application. There is a special section that if you have some sort of issues, you need to declare it. But later on, after a couple of months, they found out that, and then they fabricated the evidences as well. And they produced those evidences on their interviews or for further submissions in the UK to the Home Office or Asylum Department. So that was quite bad for them as well. As you said earlier, people who wants to really genuinely want to claim asylum because they have threats back home or they have some issues, right? They can't go back. Even they can't go back to see their family. So because of this, the system eventually they need to turn, they need to stop it. That's why.
But is it not, I'm just asking a question, is that not a violation of human rights?
To introducing these new laws, you mean?
New laws, yeah.
I think so, might be, but they are changing their ECHR Article 8 now in the UK. As they said, they left the EU, so they were when they were in the European Union, so they were bound with the European Convention of Human Rights Article 8. So but now they will introduce their own human rights things, because they say we will see our we can secure our borders by themselves. We don't need anyone else help or any other legislation. That's why the asylum the overall overhauling of this asylum system is one of the first step they will take, and eventually they will take it to the other section of other routes as well. It could be family, could be work, as the Shabana Mahmood told earlier this year that they will change the requirements for work visas as well in the future. So yeah, asylum, work, family routes, eventually they will be changed under their own human rights description.
Right. Okay. So, what about the benefits? What will be the change to the benefits which normally they used to give to asylum seekers? They were giving them accommodations as well. So they will not be giving them any accommodation, and no recourse to public fund. Will that be the part of
Yes.
the
Yeah.
this new?
So they used to have support, mainly we call Section 95 support for asylum seekers. So they give them accommodation. According to that, they need to give them weekly stipend as well to meet their and even they're living in the hotels. So the Home Office take over their other means as well, their needs as well. So now they want to lay off the burden of these funds. So yes, the Home Office again wants them to either go back to the country, or if they really want to claim the asylum, then they need to go to the military sites, so that will reduce the payments. And also in future we think that there will be no funds for them directly, like they need to provide their
Yeah.
work.
We will discuss that in detail, but I
Okay.
have to take a short commercial break, and I'll see you after the break. Welcome back after the break. Digital platform of a subsidiary, very famous British newspaper, The Economist. 1843 is the digital platform which has recently published an article about Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi, and the title of this article is very interesting. It's The Mystic, the Cricketer and the Spy, Pakistan's Game of Thrones. Now, this has created a lot of anger in the country from PTI supporters, obviously, but there are people who are actually in agreement with this article, and they have said openly that there are facts in this article. But PTI has threatened this platform that they will take them into the court if they do not publicly apologize. Now, when I have read this article, and to be honest, there's so many things which are already in public knowledge. With regards to the people who have actually accused Bushra Bibi of using black magic, or her spiritual, she has actually had a control over Imran Khan by using her spiritual powers. These are the allegations which have been brought against her in the past by different people who were associated with PTI back then. I am joined by a very famous lawyer and a politician from Pakistan. He was also a former law minister, Mr. Babar Awan. Welcome to my show, Mr. Babar Awan. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this article, which is written in the subsidiary digital platform of The Economist, which is called 1843, and the joint writers are Owen Bennett-Jones and Bushra Taskeen. Now, most of the people doesn't know who Bushra Taskeen is, but Owen Bennett-Jones is very renowned journalist, and he's the one who actually wrote a book on Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto as well. First of all, if you can just tell me what are your thoughts about this article?
Thank you, Samina. There are two angles which must be taken as, first of all, the preface to this article which is written. One is the timing on which it was written. For about more than 10 days, Pakistani media, mainstream media, social media, they were talking about 27th Constitutional Amendment. And in the meantime, suddenly one day in the morning, people saw that, and the private investigators, those who work in the Supreme Court, they were talking about the 27th Constitutional Amendment. And in 27th Constitutional Amendment, in fact, Pakistan's constitution in many ways, it is rewritten. That is why the total focus and the eye of the media was on this subject. Then one fine morning, everybody gets up and see that, there is some article which is written by some subsidiary of a newspaper that is taking headlines in the Pakistani media, chosen media. That number one. And number two is that Pakistan has different perspective of issues right now in Pakistan. One is we have hot border with Afghanistan. We have similar situation on Indian side as well. The east and west is hot borders. Number two, there's an instability, political instability in Pakistan. because of the elections which were rigged massively, and the people, those who won, they were defeated by a technology of using Form 47. Now, third thing is the economy is not picking up. Fourth thing is that we are selling the only PIA, our flag carrier, which we had. So for the people, this has got absolutely no significance in Pakistan. It has not been taken seriously.
Right. I mean, I take your words that, as you mentioned, it has not been taken seriously, but this is not what we are seeing. Actually, we are seeing a lot of interest. And this story is not only published in, got attraction in Pakistan. I have seen in Indian media, in British media as well, that they have actually have discussed this article. But having said that, I just want to actually what I actually want to find out is PTI taking this seriously? Are they willing to take this to court if, like you mentioned earlier on, that's just a propaganda? So are you trying to challenge this or trying to take this to court?
That is under consideration at the lawyers level as well as on the party level as well. And another thought is that we have a government which is in the largest second province in Pakistan, which is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Maybe that government takes the lead, but we are considering this aspect. Uh, Having said that, there are 2 points which I wanted to highlight. Point number one is that India is taking interest, or some corners which are concerned about Pakistan's political positioning is taking interest is one thing. But we are talking about the masses in Pakistan, those who live on the mainland. They have not taken it seriously because it is not for the first time that she has been made a victim just because that she is the wife of Imran Khan. Very personal matters, they were taken to the court. Very personal cases were filed against her. In the beginning, it was said that she was involved in the corruption cases. Nothing has emerged so far. For 3.5 years, the regime, first regime, second regime, and now there's a third regime in place, but nothing has happened like that.
Right.
Second side is that Imran Khan supporters apart, right now, the intelligentsia in Pakistan is concerned only about civil rights which are being jeopardized through these amendment number 1, 26, and now 27.
Right. Okay. I mean, if, for example, as you mentioned, that KPK might, the government might try and they will take this into court, this magazine into court. What are the legal matters? As a legal analyst, if you can just share those legal matters with us.
You have seen recently many cases, and you live in the world where personal injuries cases and defamation cases, they come up quite a lot in the courts, but not in Pakistan, unfortunately. The law is not very strong, and the courts are also not very strong, I'll say that very frankly.
Yeah, right.
Now, there are two things which are required. If somebody makes an allegation of any type against a person who has nothing to do with those allegations, then the onus of the proof is on the person who accuses the one who is the victim. Now, in this case, it is the newspaper or the two names which you have mentioned. One looks like Pakistani name or Indian name, and the other name is some English name.
Bushra
Then they
Taskeen and
both
Ovid
have to
Bennett
come up-
Jones.
Yeah. Both have to come before the court with unrebuttable pieces of evidence which they have collected regarding the black magic. And what they have alleged, I have not frankly read, and I didn't want to waste my time on these false stories because we have been reading it for the last so many years again, Imran Khan and his family, and particularly targeting the Bushra Bibi.
Right. You've just mentioned about defamation, but I'm not, I don't have a legal background, but from my knowledge, I think defamation cases are actually those where if there's something not in the public knowledge. Now, most of the things, I know you have just said you have not read this article, I have read it, but there's so many things I don't think so. They were the things which people will be reading it for the first time about Imran Khan or Bushra Bibi. That is already in public domain. So under those circumstances, do you think this still be a case of defamation? I'm just asking this question for my understanding and for the public understanding.
I cannot tell right now what type of case, if it is to be filed, will be filed, number one. And second is that any allegation which comes, which is a bald allegation, that is to be proved by the person who is making the allegation, basically. That's the fundamental principle of law. To understand that doesn't matter that a person is a lawyer or not. Allegation which is bald, allegation which is supported by no evidence, allegation for which only political agenda driven media is repeating it, that does not matter in the court for the purposes of proving the allegation.
Okay, right. Now, there are certain, there's a mention of some personalized messages or the incidents, I would rather say, happened to some of the PTI supporters previously. Like in this article, it is mentioned, according to Own Chaudhry, Khan's long-time political aide, he was barred from attending Khan's 2018 oath-taking ceremony after receiving a text message from Khan himself where he wrote, Bushra Begum has had a dream last night. She cannot go to the ceremony tomorrow if you are there. And Own Chaudhry was dismissed the next day. Now, this is a personal statement from Own Chaudhry, which is a part of this article. Do you think that's also a baseless allegation against her?
All allegations, for that matter, the person you are mentioning is not the one who has written it. Article is written by a third party.
Yes, but I think I'm sure they must have interviewed him or contacted him, and he must have endorsed the statement.
No, we are just presuming that they might have.
Okay.
There is absolutely no proof of the fact that he was ever interviewed or something has happened like that.
Right. This article further states that Khan sought her guidance for official appointments, sometimes sending her photographs of potential candidates because she claimed to be able to read faces. One relative recounted that Khan delayed a flight for 4 hours because Bushra Bibi told him the timing was not spiritually favorable for his travel.
You know the education of Bushra Bibi, and you know the education of Imran Khan, the educational background, where does he have studies. And he has lived a lot of time in UK, I think, for many years rather. What do you think? The person of his stature would believe such things and he will go after haywire allegations and he will go after haywire and fantasies?
No, he shouldn't, but that's why in this article it's mentioned that she has immense control, spiritual control over Imran Khan, and that's what...
I highly condemn that article, which is based upon presumptions. And I am sure that these two persons, those who have written the article, they have never visited Bani Khala from outside. They do not know inside and they do not know the working of the party. They were not part of the government. They do not know. I was part of the cabinet.
Yes.
And I know the mode of working was what. And everything was taken to political side first, which was the party's core committee, if there's an issue which we wanted to implement in the country, and then it was discussed in the cabinet. These were two forums where decisions were made. And I give you an example. Against Imran Khan, a case was made where the money was lying in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and it was said that he has taken the money and constructed some university. One. Number two was that he took it to the cabinet and got the approval. So meaning thereby that every little thing which came in the knowledge of the cabinet was discussed and matter were decided. There was no decision making on the backside like this.
Right, okay. I mean, I agree with a few points which you have just mentioned here. And to be honest, personally, I don't agree with one thing, which was the photographs of Bushra Bibi, because she wear veil, and I think we should respect that if somebody, a woman doesn't want to show her face, that face should not be shown. And with this article, I think some of the pictures, which I don't agree with that kind of editorial decision what has been made. But there is another thing which I want to mention from this article, because as you said just before about Owen Chaudhary, that you completely dismisses this statement, but Owen Chaudhary has actually himself has not commented or has not rejected this statement published in the article, and same with Faisal Voda. So with reference to Faisal Voda, the article mentions that a member of Khan's cabinet is quoted as saying that he was frustrated to see Bushra Bibi present or involved in discussions at the highest level. He said he had heard of one meeting with the then Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa in which she spoke more than either of them. Now this is a statement in relation to Faisal Voda in this article, but even Faisal Voda has not rejected the claims.
I'll make no comment further, as I've rejected the interview at entirety. It's a bunch of lies, and it is not based upon the facts or investigation.
Right. Okay. Let's discuss about the credibility of these journalists. Now, as you mentioned yourself, and I mentioned it myself, that I have never heard Bushra Taskeen's name before, but the co-author, Owen Bennett Jones, is a very renowned journalist, and I'm sure you must be aware of his work in Pakistan. I think he's familiar with Pakistan. He wrote a book on Mohtharama Benazir Bhutto and her sacrifices within the political field. And do you think that he has just published this article in his digital platform without fact checking, or just checking whatever is in the article against the facts, and he has not consulted his solicitors before publishing this article?
I don't know him, frankly. I've heard this name. I know a number of people from England and UK, but I've not heard his name, incidentally, and I've not read his book as well, which you referred to. Having said that, there are two things which are important.
Right.
One is that whosoever's name is there, that does not matter. Look at what they are writing about a woman, targeting a person who is a household wife, targeting a person who is observing Paida. You said yourself that she's wearing veil. And a person whose only crime so far proven is that she is wife of Imran Khan. Nothing else. And then there are other people in the country, those are not being discussed. They also do a lot of things which have tarnished Pakistan internationally, but those are not discussed. These are non-issues, totally non-issues.
Right. Do you really think that this magazine or the digital platform has been paid by somebody to publish this article, as most of the PTI people are actually claiming that?
Samina, I wish I was an investigator, would have answered your question. I'm a lawyer, I don't know.
Right. Okay. So now, as a lawyer, I will ask you a question. Do you have any intention, or are you going to advise KPK government, if they are actually going ahead to take this magazine to court, to do that in UK? Because as you mentioned yourself, in Pakistan, unfortunately, there will be not much possibility to get the fair trial. But if they can try get a trial here in UK, they might get a better judgment, or they can get a justice.
I'm part of the legal committee of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, but if I'm asked by the government of KPK, I've been doing it previously, I'll do it again. Wherever they need my opinion or the legal advice, I'll give them.
Right. Thank you very much, Babar Awan, for your time, and obviously commenting on this article, which I'm sure you just mentioned clearly and truthfully. You have not read it, but thank you for commenting on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this was Babar Awan, a very famous lawyer and politician, and he was a former law minister when it was a PTI government, even for a short time, but he was a law minister then, and he has categorically rejected this article. and also hinting to take this to court, but obviously he has not read the article, so he has not insight of it. But what I would say, and what my research so far has actually told me, and I researched for this program this morning as well, this afternoon as well, Faisal Warda and Owen Chaudhary has not rejected the statement which has been mentioned in this article with their names. And if they have not rejected them, that means they have endorsed them. And I am sure that Bushra Taskeen or Bennett Owen Jones must have interviewed them, took their stance, and then made a part of this article. But we are not here to comment on the authenticity or falseness of this article. We're just here to discuss whatever they have written. And as I mentioned before, that most of the things which are part of this article were not new to the readers or to Pakistani public, because they were, or most of them are already in public domain. With regards to Bushra Bibi's spiritual powers, or I mean, the way she alleged in this article that she controlled Imran Khan and she was the one who actually running the government, are already in public domain. People have discussed it so many times. Even Reham Khan wrote a book and she mentioned this in the book. Then there's another female, which I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but she also published a book and she made a claim. And there are so many people in PTI who were part of PTI before, but they are not at the moment. They actually stated almost the same incidents which are part of this article. So these are not new revelations. They were already there and people are aware of this. So now I'm going to go back to my guest Shahram Mashood, who was part of this program from the beginning, and we were discussing the asylum law in asylum policy, which is obviously quite devastating for those who are in the country or who are hoping to get asylum, because most of the people, they want to come to this country to get a better life, or at least they know they're human, they will get some human rights. I'm going to take a short commercial break and I'll see you after the break. Welcome back after the break. We were discussing about the change in asylum policy in UK, and obviously the article which has created a political riot, I must say, in Pakistan, which is published in The Economist by Owen Bennett Jones and Bushra Taskeen. And this article is actually claiming to be creating a chaos within, not even in the PTI leadership, but also in other political parties. PTI has categorically rejected this article, and obviously their opponents are praising this and saying this whatever is written in this article is absolutely correct. I was joined by Mr. Babar Awan, very famous lawyer and politician from Pakistan. He was also former law minister in PTI government, and he also rejected the article even though he has not read it. I've been joined by another guest, Shabir Hussain, in my program, and I'm going to ask him the same question about this article. I'm sure he must have read the article. Welcome and thank you for joining me in the program.
Thank you, Smina. Thank you for having me in the program.
I'm not sure if you have heard Mr. Babar Awan in my program or you missed it, but I have discussed this article with him. What are your thoughts on this article, if you have read it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that part, and I didn't hear Mr. Warwan speaking to you on the program. But as far as the article is concerned, in my opinion, it has everything, whatever has been written in that article, although it has been published by Economist this time, has already been published previously in different accounts, like it has been on the social media, it had been a campaign against Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi for that matter. There could be so many things which we can say that people perceive that they're right, but even then it is not really going to make any good use for the opposition or the government, I should say. At this point of time, the government is trying to promote that kind of a sentiment or a perception about Imran Khan, or take away his popularity by doing all these kind of things. So I don't think this is going to help them in that way, because people, that's what you said, that Mr. Babar Awan had not read the article, but still he said there was nothing right about it. So people have already drawn those lines, and they're not really going to believe whatever you're going to say against Imran Khan. Imran Khan is a very popular leader. No matter what you do, he is going to remain as popular as he is, and
Is
he's
this a good thing
probably
or a bad
becoming
thing?
more
Is it
popular.
good thing or a bad thing? And somebody who is very popular, and I'm not sure if it's
I,
factual. I'm not saying that it's this article actually consists of all the facts. I'm not sure about it, but I'm sure the reputation of the magazine is such that they will not write or publish anything without any factual documentation. But still, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Somebody who is very popular, and whatever you write about them or whatever facts you want to bring in the public, it is not going to affect his popularity?
It's a very strange situation. We have a society which is not really mature, which is not given any kind of a justice. They are denied justice in every aspect. They're reacting to anything that you do. It is very hard for people to understand or differentiate between right and wrong. Honestly speaking, I haven't been able to feel that way since my childhood, I would say, in that country, because the society is brought up in such a manner. I think we need to address those basic principles of upbringing our society in this modern times. So that's one of the factor. And when you talk about the reputable this magazine like Economist, it's probably is not the Economist paper that has published this article. It is the uh, another part of the Economist,
Is
which is
subsidiary digital
sort of
platform
a magazine.
1843.
Yeah, that's right. So that does not hold that kind of a credibility either. But if you would ask
No, but
me,
it's still
those
run
people
by
who are
Economist. I
already
mean, it's not the Economist, but this digital platform is still run by the Economist. And the
but
name which is
I
associated with this
don't think the
article is
Economist
Owen
is.
Bennett Jones, very renowned British journalist.
I don't think it is going to matter in those circles in Pakistan where it comes to the popularity of a man who is very popular. When you say, is it good to have someone so popular? It is not, to be very honest. One should be very rational. One
Yeah.
should really look at things objectively. But the way things have moved all through and through, it is not possible for people to take their eyes away from there. They do perceive everything that he is being not given a fair trial or he is not being treated fairly, which is very much visible. That's one of the fact. And you have seen so many things have come out before also about his other relationships and things like that. And now with the Bushra Bibi, how she came into it and how she started to influence his decision making and stuff like that. But that's not really going to
Yeah.
help anyway. That's not really going to persuade the people to drift away from supporting him.
Yeah,
This is how I
I
look
mean,
at it.
yeah, this is quite factual analysis from yourself, and I mean, I agree with most of the things you have said. Let's move to Shahram. Shahram, I know we were discussing asylum policy, but what are your take as a Pakistani on this article? Like Shabi just mentioned that no matter what you do, the popularity of that person is huge, and any kind of article is not going to affect on his credibility. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Uh, like yeah, as a public figure, it's a very famous personality. So, but these articles, they really want to damage his image in the public. But again, I don't think so. They have a much credibility of the words and those pieces they added in that article, because previously several people they tried to line about his relationship with his wife. So again, he is famous and people follow him. But what the main point is, they even use the names of the people who made allegation against Mr. Khan and his wife, right? But those people, they didn't come to the media and they didn't contradict these statements. So there is a, I think so. The people can say that no, this is the right thing, because even those people, Mr. Faisal Warda or some other people, their names were used, and they claim that they said these. Even on Chaudhry, they gave these statements, but on the media they didn't deny So might be there is something that the PTI or the side of the Mr. Khan or Bushra Bibi, they should clear it about these things. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, we have not heard from them, but obviously PTI has rejected this article. Now, Mr. Shabir Hussain, there is one thing which is actually very important, and this is something I have never heard before. There were different claims by different people, by like On Chaudhry. I'm sure you must have heard in the news that he was not invited to Imran Khan's oath taking ceremony, even though he was so close ally with Imran Khan's. And why? Because he received a message from Imran Khan that Bushra Bibi will not come if you attend that event, and the next day he was dismissed. I've heard about this before, and On Chaudhry has actually expressed this himself in one of the programs. But there was another statement by Faisal Voda, and that was actually really surprising for me. And I'm sure you must, if you have read the article, you must have read about it. That where he said that that he was frustrated to see Bushra Bibi present or involved in discussion at the highest level, and that discussion was with then Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa, in which she spoke more than either of them. This is according to Faisal Voda. Now, this was a statement which actually made me a bit surprised. That was that the kind of her involvement when Imran Khan was Prime Minister?
Veena, it's very hard to believe what Faisal Bauda or any such On Chaudhry or these people. I'm saying people do believe in Imran Khan more than what these people are saying about
No, we
him.
have to
Or
critically
we
analyze.
don't know
I
anything
know
about.
people believe
Yeah,
Imran Khan. I know
the
he's a
people
very famous politician. But just put everything on one side and just analyze these statements. These are not minor statements.
No,
These are big allegations.
again, people are going to look at it who is talking. You see, that's another problem. It is very hard for us, to be very honest. It's very hard for anyone to believe anything those politicians
But
over
let's
there,
suppose for a minute,
anyone for that matter.
if this is true, how devastating this is, that people, that at that time, I mean, a lady, first lady, was involved in all the discussions, especially even when they were discussing things with an army chief, and she was present and involved.
Well, what we have seen now, for example, his whole family is kept at distance for that matter. His sisters are not really involving themselves into political issues. Whatever is happening, the PTI
No,
comes
I
up.
think
So
I'm sorry,
it's
I
very
disagree
hard to
with you.
believe.
They are very
I,
much part of
I,
the political system. Sorry, I will disagree with you on this. They are very much part of a political system.
No,
They are
Samina,
the
if you
ones who
look
give
at them,
statements
they
on his
come to
behalf.
meet him. They come to meet him. They do make some political statements in terms of his release, not otherwise. I'm saying they don't talk about the policy making or any such thing. This is why, that's why I said if Bushra Bibi was present, I would really not imagine that could have happened. If that was the case, that's not the right norm. It's not a norm. It's not acceptable, probably. And army chief must have objected to that. But you can see what people are perceiving is totally different. Whatever you can say whatever you want to say. So many people can say and allege people for different misconducts or such like fabricated stories can be made out. But the problem is, it is hard to believe anyone. It is hard to believe even if when you watch a video around these days because of the AI and so many other aspects. So
Right.
you got to really judge
Exactly. That's the
everything.
sorry. I have to cut you here. So that is the same thing which, in other words, Babar Awan said, and I asked him the question that if you think this is the case, this is the scenario, facts have been fabricated in this article. Why don't you why don't you approach UK courts then? Just take this magazine into one of the courts in UK where you can get justice as well. And as you mentioned before, and I think I agree on this point as well, these are not the facts which have been shared or read by the people for the first time. They were already in the news. I mean, about Imran Khan's previous relationships or whatever his relationship with his family, his kids and everything, people know. It's in public domain already. But her interference was absolute. I mean, in the political scenario as per this article, and it has all been alleged that she was actually recruited by ISI to spy on Imran Khan. Now, this is the point which I don't know if you can if you have any, or you can explain it further for me.
Honestly speaking, it's very hard to believe such stupid statements. There could be one kind of now they're alleging probably General Faz wanted to influence Imran Khan through her. So there is a possibility. You can never imagine how people move around, how they try to get close to other people through wives. So this is a very common practice in our society. That's not a big deal. So in that way, someone must have said, "Oh, it has been done by the ISI." But ISI, as a policy, as a something, they would never do it. If that was the case, why would they do it for Imran Khan, ISI? They don't need to do it. What would they gain out of it if they would just induct Bushra Bibi and then get her married to Imran Khan and then do all sorts of things? I think this is all ridiculous. It's all rubbish to me. This doesn't sound good to me at all.
Right. So, Shahram, as a legal analyst, what do you think if this article is taken to court here in UK? What would be the prospects?
I think so. If they take to the courts, they won't get anything from it because it's just a digital publication. So it is a subsidiary of The Economist, but it's not linked with the, I think so, editorial board of The Economist. So they have their own separate identity.
Now, right. Let me correct you here as well. I think that's a misconception here. 1843 is a digital platform, a subsidiary of The Economist, but this is a part of The Economist. Ovid Bennett-John, who actually owns the magazine, is a very famous journalist. Do you think for a second that somebody who belongs to a community society here, who has been running this magazine for God knows how many years, will take that risk to publish anything which is full of slander or defamation?
Might be it happens, in the world. Sometimes journalists they just use, like for example, the things the pieces he used for his article. Basically, those statements were already in public, and those were from the books written against Imran Khan. So, and also Mr. Jones had his a past to work for such things because he wrote books on Pakistan twice when he worked for BBC in the past, and he was sacked from the BBC because of some of his personal reasons, which is not disclosed yet. So he was the part of BBC in the past as well. So I don't think so that he properly investigated, because the another lady.
It took more than 6 months for them to investigate this story before publishing it. I don't know how can you say this.
No, my question is that they took 6 months to publish it, or they just gather the information.
Obviously.
Because they didn't investigate. It doesn't show that they investigated it. The new thing I heard that is. She also worked for the ISI, Bushra Bibi. That's a new thing, came from the Bushra Taskeen or Mr. Jones. But previously, if you think that on Reham Khan, they had the same allegations as well. She worked for other spy agencies, you can say. So I don't think so. But they can even anybody can try. They can go to the court and they'll say that, but they need concrete evidence. Against 1843 or against these publishers.
Yeah, I mean they have to. I don't know how they do, but yeah, they can do that in court. So same question from you, Mr. Shabir Hussain. Do you think they should just take this matter into court here in UK, not in Pakistan, because they might not get justice? But what they have, the PTI claim that if Economist ask for apology and if they apologizes to them, they will not take them to court. Otherwise, they will take them to court. What does that mean?
My advice would be just laugh it out and just ignore it. They are not that important. This article won't do any damage to Imran Khan or Bushra Bibi for that matter. Bushra Bibi was, in any way, she is only Bushra Bibi because of Imran Khan. Imran Khan is the man who is popular, and that's what people are going to take. It makes no difference. There have been so many attempts, so many things have happened. I'm saying, honestly speaking, if you ask me, I never heard the name of Mr. Jones before, despite the fact that he had been working for BBC in Pakistan and he has written about Pakistan, everything against him. I've started to read him about him only after this article has come up. So he has become popular, nothing else. I'm saying, honestly speaking, you want me to tell you what PTI should do? They should just ignore it. They should really not be bothered about it, not even for the apology.
Right, okay.
It makes no
So,
difference.
right. So, another question which arises in my mind, and obviously it is very important that this, whether we accept it or reject this article, obviously this is up to us, but the Economist has a reputation and they're in the market for a long time, and obviously they must have a panel of solicitors. Don't you think he has consulted them before publishing this article, knowing that it is against one of the most famous leaders in Pakistan, actually on the international scenario? He must have consulted his solicitors before publishing this article and checked all the facts.
Do you think, Samina, do you think that Imran Khan's position would be affected by
That's
that
different.
in
No,
the
no. Yeah, yeah.
world scenario? And
That's it. That's a different
and
perspective. But
no, that's what I'm saying. That and Economist is going to gain something out of it, or do you think that something big is going to come out of it
no,
for
no, 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 no,
Economist?
no. But
They
my
probably are going to. They probably they are trying to distance themselves from this digital platform as much as they can, because they know they are going to really have a bad reputation themselves out of all this. This is not, this is just being blown out of proportion, this article. This is nothing, to be very honest to me. For many people, most of the people around the world, it's nothing. We have been we've been reading about all this for a very long time in every kind of media or social media or digital platform. Previously also, all these things have been said. A few new things will be brought up just to give it a kind of a big news story. That's it. And everyone knows it. Everyone perceives it that way. You can try and pursue, you can try to propagate as much as you can, but it's not possible to do that.
right, okay. So I mean, that's fine. I think you both have rejected this article as well, but let's see what is going to happen next and how PT is going to pursue this matter further. If they're deciding to take it further to court, let's see what happens. And obviously, I agree with both of you and with Babar Awan as well that there's nothing new in this article. But I was really surprised when Babar Awan commented on the article but said that he hasn't read it. But even though he has not read it, he is going to reject it categorically. That is actually, that shows the maturity of our political leadership in Pakistan, that they just toe the party policy, which is fine, which is good, but in reality, you should have something, have your own perspective and analysis and try to speak up and try to speak the truth. This definitely has a political backlash in Pakistan, and I've seen that this article is actually on discussions, not even in Pakistan, international channels as well. In India, it has gone a lot of coverage, and even in Britain, the other newspapers have actually reported this article as well. Now, what happened in Pakistan is definitely will be a surprise for all of us. It might not do anything, or it might bring some political chaos within the public, and they might want to ask or discuss this in further. But there's nothing in this in this article which was not in public domain already. Now, we were discussing about the change in asylum policy before when you joined us. I'm not sure if you have heard Shabana Mahmood speaking in the parliament, but I want to show a video, whatever she is saying. So let's watch her address in the parliament, and then we will discuss it afterwards.
To the British public who foot the bill, the system feels out of control and unfair. It feels that way because it is of a minority. But if we fail to deal with this crisis, we must act too. We will do so by making refugee status temporary, not permanent. A grant of refugee status will last 2.5 years, not 5. It will be renewed only if it is impossible for a refugee to return home. Permanent settlement will now come at 20 years, not 5. I know this country welcomes people who contribute, and for those who want to stay and are willing and able to, we will create a new work and study visa route solely for refugees, with a quicker path to permanent settlement. To encourage refugees into work, we will also consult on removing benefits for those who are able to work but choose not to. Outside of the most exceptional circumstances, family reunion will not be possible, with a refugee only able to bring family over if they have joined a work and study route and if qualifying tests are met. Asylum seekers remain in taxpayer-funded accommodation. We have already announced that we will empty asylum hotels by the end of the Parliament, and we are exploring a number of large military sites as an alternative. We will now also remove the 2005 legislation that created a duty to support asylum seekers, reverting to a legal power to do so instead. So those with income or assets will have to contribute to the cost of their stay. This will end the absurdity that we currently experience, where an asylum seeker receiving £800 each month from his family and who had recently acquired an Audi was receiving free housing at the taxpayer's expense, and the courts judged that we could do nothing about it. Nature of our own system. In March of this year, we must also enforce our rules and remove those who have no right to be here. This will mean restarting removals to countries where they have been paused. In recent months, we have begun voluntary removal of failed asylum seekers to Syria once again. However, there are still many failed asylum seekers here from Syria, most of whom fled a regime that has since been toppled. Other countries are planning to enforce removals, and we will follow suit. Where a failed asylum seeker cannot be returned home, we will also continue to explore the possibility of return hubs, with negotiations ongoing. As order and control is restored, we will open new. I can announce today that we have told Angola, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Namibia that if they do not comply with international rules and norms, we will impose visa penalties on them. And I am sending a wider message here. Unless other countries heed this lesson, further sanctions will follow. There is no doubt that the expanded interpretation of parts of the European Convention on Human Rights has contributed. This is particularly true of Article 8, the right to a family life. The courts have adopted an ever-expanding interpretation of this right, and as a result, many people have been allowed to come to this country when they would otherwise have had no right to. These reforms are designed to bring unity where others seek to divide. As Article 3 is an absolute right, a public interest test cannot be applied. For that reason, we are seeking reform at the Council of Europe, and we do so alongside international partners who have raised.
Right, you were listening to Shabana Mahmood, and that was a speech delivered in Parliament. Now, asylum seekers have to complete 20 years before getting a permanent settlement. So, Shabir, what do you think? Is this something you would welcome? And really, there are certain people who use and abuse the system? Or that was a quite hardliner approach by Labour Party or Shabana Mahmood?
This is a drastic change in the policy of British immigration system. Obviously, it was very, very soft previously, and so many people were trying to make good use of it, and so many people came here. There are so many arguments which can be put forward for support of those asylum seekers also, because most of those places have kind of an involvement by the British government into Iraq, Syria,
Afghanistan, Ukraine.
countries. So some people are, and these people are having lots of difficulties, and they find it their right to come around here. Obviously, it's the matter of their safety, for their security, everything. They need to find some kind of a better place to live in. That's a big argument, and Britain had been very, very accommodative if we look at it for a very long time. But with the changing environment, and which is changing so fast, so rapid, things cannot really go untouched. This policy, whatever we were just listening to the Home Secretary here, Shabana Mahmood, it's a very, very big, I would say, 180-degree change
Good.
from one end to the other end completely. Most of the people probably are supporting whatever has been said, like from 5 years to 20 years. 20 years that means it would be very hard for someone to really get a permanent residence or get the nationality in any way. But economically, it's a great burden again for the British economy. British economy has not been performing very well. Whatever is going on with the changing system, with South getting stronger. Obviously, Western countries are not as economically good as China is emerging, or those powers are emerging now. They have to take those steps, and that's what they are trying to do. I don't know if they'll be able to apply it immediately the way Shabana was speaking. It seems it is going to be effective very quickly. But it needs to go through the parliament, and a debate must be taken place. I have seen the news, and there are some leftists like Green Party and some of the left wing people from Labour also who were opposing such like drastic changes. Let's see what happens. But I think they will eventually come up with something of that sort, because if we look at it objectively, it's not possible for the British government to support those asylum seekers into the hotels for such a long time and lodge them there. And that's where people have had a lot of voices coming up against all these things.
Right,
So,
okay.
what can we say?
Yes, obviously. I mean, that is a drastic change. I agree with you. And I think we can see Britain is changing and has changed a lot. I'm not sure what is going to happen within the Labour Party, but I'm not sure if they are making their voters happy or they are becoming more upset with the government, because the way this country has actually is moving, the way it is economically not viable to stay here, and people have to work hard. Still, they have to pay more, whether you want to buy a property, you want to make some investment, you want to work. And I think I've heard that they are going to increase taxes more now, and if you own a house which is £300,000 or more than that, you have to pay more taxes on this. So I don't know how people are going to afford to live in this country, and what will be the scenario here, but that is quite a drastic actually move. So Shahram, thank you very much for joining me in the program and for your obviously valuable input with regards to asylum policy. And Shabir Hussain, thank you so much for joining me in the program as well.
Thank you, Sabina.
So this was the program tonight, and I'm going to see you again next time. Until then, goodbye.